Today I want to talk to you about invisible forces. Radiation is an invisible force. Gravity is an invisible force. Electromagnetic energy is a visible force. So is love and so is hate. Those two invisible forces of human emotion can impact your life more than almost anything else on this earth. People love to talk about their intellect, but guess what? It's human emotion that actually moves us to action. Emotions start wars. They also create peace. Emotions will get you to fall in love. It's what gets you married. It's also can get you divorced if you don't manage it well. Used effectively, we can use our emotions to experience the most enhanced life you could ever dream of. But if we fail to direct our emotion, fear, worry, anger, stress, depression, or overwhelm can creep in. Listen, we've all been given a gift. And that gift is the capacity to choose and direct and shape our own emotions, therefore change the quality of our lives in an instant and help others to do the same. So if we're going to have an extraordinary holiday season, and more importantly, an extraordinary life, we have to become the masters of this invisible force called human emotion. We feel different feelings at different times, and we can be triggered by a variety of things in our environment. But ultimately, the way you feel is based upon the meaning you give to things. See, meaning equals emotion, and emotion equals your life. So, for example, if something really challenging happens in your life, some people make up a meaning, this is happening because God is punishing me for something I've done wrong. See, the meaning we give things produces emotion. If you think God's punishing you, you're going to have a different feeling and response instead of actions than if you think God is challenging or gifting you with this challenge. What's wrong is always available, as I always say, but so is what's right. Rarely does a positive emotion just interrupt you. Usually, you have to pursue them. Weeds grow automatically. You don't have to plant them. In the middle of a challenge, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what's great about this? Maybe there's an opportunity in this situation. If you and I are going to become emotionally fit, then we really have to train ourselves. Emotional fitness is that state of readiness. It's different than emotional intelligence. Most people have a highway to stress and fear and worry and upset, and they got a dirt road to happiness or joy. You can change that because emotion is a habit. This holiday season, and more importantly in your life, what do we got to do to consistently have the emotions we want is become conscious and train that habit. You need to figure out what your emotional home is. So take a look at your emotional inventory and maybe circle the top 2 positive emotions you experience most and the top 2 negative you experience most. And then write down what tends to trigger you. And how can you train yourself in that same situation to feel differently? Just by having the awareness alone, you can change that. And if you do this for, say, 10 days, I think you'll find you'll have a new set of habits, and the quality of your life, not only during the holidays, but every day, will increase massively. So if you really want to give yourself a gift and the people around you this holiday season, maybe make a decision. It's a simple decision. It says, from this day on, at least for the next few weeks, I'm going to train myself to tap into the gift of positive human emotions. I'm going to live in a beautiful emotional state by finding a more empowering meaning. Just ask yourself, what else could this mean? And find an empowering meaning, and in that moment, you become the master of your life. Listen, master emotion, and you master your life. Master meaning, and you master your life.
All of these emotions, these categories of emotions, are there for a reason, and they're to give us a message that something needs to change. Now, one of 2 things has got to be changed when we're feeling any of these emotions. And before I tell you this, let's make sure you're enrolled here. How would you feel in your life if you knew, no matter what emotion you felt, you could go, okay, am I feeling uncomfortable, or is that a feeling of fear, or is that a hurt feeling, or an anger type of feeling, or a frustrated type of feeling, or a disappointed, or a guilty, or inadequate, or overloaded, or lonely feeling? How would you feel if you knew that in a moment or 2, you could instantly get out of that feeling, no matter how intense it had been? Would that be useful? Then stick with me, okay? Because I know this may seem a little bit cumbersome at first, so listen to me carefully. At any moment you feel any emotion, the first step you're going to always want to take to master your emotions, first step always will be to identify the signal. What I mean by identify the signal is figure out, if you're having a feeling, which one of these categories does it go into? Let me say that again, because I think you'll get this one. If you're feeling pain, it's a message. You need to change the way you're looking at things, and therefore what they mean to you. or change the way you're communicating your desires or needs to someone, especially if the pain involves somebody else, or change the way you're behaving, the way you're treating others, and that'll get you a new response. That's in essence the basis of all these action messages. They're telling you got to set a new outcome and move in a new direction. Otherwise, you're going to stay in pain. And by the way, let me mention something to you. If you ignore a message, if you ignore one of these signals and these action signals, whether it be the signal of feeling hurt or fearful or angry or frustrated or disappointed or overloaded, that signal doesn't go away. It intensifies. You'll feel even more hurt, even more angry. It intensifies until one day you get smart enough to say, hey, I got to change something here. I got to change my expectations, the way I'm evaluating this thing, the way I'm looking at things, the way I'm feeling about it, or the way I'm communicating what I need, or I got to change the way I'm behaving, period. I'm going to keep feeling this until I make one of those three changes. It's that simple. Next, once you've identified the signal, i.e. you've been identified, you said, I was feeling rejected, and what that really means is I'm feeling uncomfortable, or it really means I'm feeling hurt, or angry, or lonely, or whatever. And the second step is appreciate the message. Respect that emotion. Don't make your emotion wrong. So many times we say, well, I don't want to feel rejected, or I don't want to feel bad, or I don't feel angry, I don't want to feel hurt. Don't do that. Appreciate it. It has a message for you. It means you got to change. But it also means something very specific depending upon which emotion. So before we go any further, let me review with you what the messages are. We've already said that if you're uncomfortable, the message is simple. You got to change your state, clarify what you want, and take action in the direction of what you want. And immediately you won't be uncomfortable anymore. If you're feeling category number 2, emotions of fear, whether it be concern or apprehension or worry or anxiety or scared or frightened or terrified, no matter what intensity it is, any one of those still are fearful emotions, and fear emotions deliver one message to us. We need to prepare ourselves to deal with something or to avoid the negative consequences of something that's coming up, something that's about to happen, a situation or an event. Basically, fear is get prepared. Get yourself so you can deal with something. And that's a valuable message, isn't it? Now, the problem is what most of us do is we get fearful and we don't take the message. We either try to deny the fear and act like we're real strong, and all it does is get stronger and stronger, or worse, we just surrender the fear and we don't get the message. All we do is we get caught up in the emotion and we get more and more scared and we amplify it. And we start thinking of the worst that can happen rather than figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to be prepared to avoid the negative consequences and make this work? For example, people have fear of failure. That's a valuable fear. It's saying get prepared so you won't fail. The third category of emotions, those of hurt feelings, give us a signal and a message that says you have an expectation that's not been met, and you have a feeling of loss, i.e. you expected somebody to keep their word and they didn't. That hurt your feelings. Or you expected someone never to share something that you told them privately and they told somebody else, and now you feel hurt. You feel a sense of loss of intimacy with them, or loss of trust, and that sense of loss is what creates that feeling of hurt inside of us. What do we need to do? It tells us immediately that we have to evaluate, is there really a loss here? Again, do we need to change our perception? Maybe you just didn't communicate to this person that when you told them this, you wanted them to keep this information private. Maybe you haven't lost anything. Maybe you just have to change your way of communicating your needs, or again, change your behavior. The next category is anger. That's the fourth category. And again, emotions like irritation or feeling livid or furious or enraged or resentful, all of these fit into this category. Any of these emotions are simply signals giving you a message, and the message here is that an important rule that you have in your life has been violated by someone else, or maybe even by you. See, when we think something's really important and somebody violates that rule, we get upset about it. How we deal with that upset will determine a great deal how much pain or pleasure we really experience in our lives, and how close we get to other people, or how much we push them away from us. In other words, if somebody violates your standards, that's the message. What you're supposed to do with that message is real simple. Communicate that you have a standard. Communicate that you know it's only your rule. It isn't necessarily their rule, but you need their help. Or you need to compromise them possibly. You know, some things you get angry about, you're going to get angry about for the rest of your life. And you better identify those things and realize that those are just your standards. They're not everybody's standards. And if you go around being upset because everyone doesn't live by your rules, you're going to be upset your whole life. So again, maybe you need to change your perceptions, change your rules, so that life is a lot simpler and a lot less painful for you. The fifth category of emotions, frustration. These action signals are telling you you need to change your approach to achieving your goal. Whatever you're going after, you're not going to get it the way you're doing it right now. That's why you're frustrated. You keep trying to get the same results by doing the same thing over and over again. There was a definition given a long time ago about insanity. It said insanity is attempting to get a new result by doing the same thing over and over again. It'll never work. So you've got to change your approach. When you feel frustrated, just know, hey, that's a message. I got to change my approach. I need to be more flexible in the situation.